When I travel for my daytime job, I never miss an opportunity to shop at the local knife stores. And this trip to Alabama yielded some scores. I found this Mini Idea super limited edition, and I learned firsthand about Alabama Damascus. I worked in Alabama for 2 weeks, and on week 1 I bought these 3 knives. This is Benchmade first production undercurrent. In case you don't know, I collect first production Benchmades and limited editions as well, and this is 173 out of 400 Mini Idea 2025 limited edition. And here's a fully custom knife that I spent surprisingly a little, designed by knife maker David Martin. The blade was forged by Alabama Damascus, which led me to actually visiting this forge. The handle actually has superpowers, which I will talk about later in the video, and I purchased it without the secondary bevel because I would like to put my own edge on it. Speaking of the edges, the reason I have these 2 Benchmades, I wanted to show you how different their edge grinds can be. And it's about time we talked about differences between the classic Damascus and Damasteel. And we'll get a little help in getting close to the steel, thanks to this little inexpensive microscope that I purchased on Amazon. It has reasonable resolution, it has 4 different brightness settings, and it connects to your handheld device via USB-C cord. When it's connected to the phone, it becomes an indispensable sharpening tool because you can see the burr. I will link it in the description. This is Benchmade production knife covered by their Life Sharp warranty. They will resharpen their knives for free, but I would not recommend sending them back, because that's the quality of sharpening you will get. And I will show you in closer detail later in the video what I'm talking about. And here's the Damasteel knife, very expensive knife. And here you can see the layers of Damasteel on the primary bevel, and you can actually see layering on the edge itself. If you never heard of Damasteel, it's basically a powder metallurgy form of Damascus. The exact process is highly proprietary and not well known. Most likely they combined 2 alloyed powders in layers in a form when they press it into a billet shape, and then they sintered it to bind the powders in an atmospheric oven, which is simply put an oven without any oxygen present in its atmosphere. It's either vacuum or some form of inert gas. And then this billet twisted and shapen into the form similarly to the traditional Damascus. And I believe this particular pattern is called Hugin or Hugin. Not sure how to pronounce it. And speaking of the traditional Damascus, the knife designed by David Martin is made out of Alabama Damascus. Alabama Damascus is a small forge in Jacksonville, Alabama. And this billet was forge welded out of various metals. Notice how I didn't say steels. Of course there are steels in there, but I said metals. I will speak more on this topic a little later. The contrasting color pattern in the Damascus is created by etching it in an acid, and steels with higher alloy content like molybdenum are much harder to dissolve in acid. So the etching is created by this variation in the steel compositions, and so is the color. Let's take a little break from steels and talk about the handle materials. Look what happens when I switch off the lights and turn on my laser. If you are as mesmerized by this as I am, don't forget to hit the like button. The material for the handles was sourced from Voodoo Resins. I'll provide unaffiliated link in the description. And this semi-translucent honeycomb pattern is called Deception Kraken Core. The handle on the limited edition Mini Idea is quite unique too. This material is called G-Carter, is a micarta and G10 interlaced together, and the pattern is called thermocline. That term is used by oceanologists to describe layering or thermal layering of water in the ocean that can be often seen as variation in colors. And the unique thing about this material is they cut it transversely. In other words, the cut ends of the fibers are visible from the outside of the handles, and the layers are visible on the edge of the scales. I haven't seen any other companies do this, but if you have, please let me know in the comments. And while I'm holding a deer in hand, I would like you guys to see what Benchmade artisans are actually capable of when they apply themselves into making a great edge. You will not find it on production knives, as I will show you in a minute, but take a close look. The burr is properly removed. There's still maybe some opportunity for additional stropping, but all in all, it's near perfectly stropped. It's hair popping sharp. And in comparison, here's the edge on the undercurrent, which is a pricey knife. It's 250 smackaroons. This edge extremely amateurishly finished. I am not going to complain about rough media they used to sharpen it, but what I am concerned is they left a lot of burr, and yet they tried to strop it, and when they stropped the burr without weakening it first, they got this tearing off effect when the leather on the strop grabs the burr and like rips it off the edge and leaves these gouges. Work Sharp Precision Adjust Elite kit is what I brought on this trip with me. This one is modified with various components, front and back, to stabilize it, and I use an improvised jack screw. All that was done to keep the blade stable enough to put a secondary bevel on it. The primary bevel terminated about 40 thousandths of an inch, so it took at least 40 minutes for me to get it to the stage where I actually could call it a secondary bevel. It's still not complete in this shot, but I'm not going to bore you with the entire progression of stones. Let's just say all of the stones that come with this kit, namely 220, 320, 400, 600, 800, and the honing ceramic plate. This is actually not my favorite fixed angle sharpener. It's just the kit that was easy to carry on the trip. I will provide links to all my sharpening devices in the description, letting you decide if you're shopping for sharpening tool. All of the ones that I've used and made videos about are in the description. All these links will enable you to go and check them out. So I will say this, while it's turning out in this video fine, it's because I have pretty extensive experience now using these type of devices. And as you can see, because this particular one is a little bit light duty, it has a lot of movement, the tip is turning out just slightly radiused, which is not ideal. I spotted the tip problem early enough in the game here using the microscope to be able to bring it back some, and after additional 20 minutes or so, I am now stropping using the stropping leather that came with the Elite kit. And on this particular one I have green polishing compound, nothing fancy. And the result can be also characterized as nothing fancy. Good working edge on a knife like this. This is acceptable. I think the attraction of a knife is in Damascus patterns itself. And while I had no means to test the hardness of this blade on the trip, I was enjoying the fact that it felt pretty hard and the burr was forming and coming off nicely. And that piqued my curiosity, so I decided to visit Alabama Damascus. How often do you get to see the very furnace in which the billet for your blade was forged? Ah, she's still hot?
Oh yeah. You bake a tater in there in a minute. I'm Brad Vice, Alabama Damascus. The 27 pieces here, we stretched it out and folded it over 4 times. 5160, pure nickel, 5160, 15N20, 5160, nickel, 5160, bandsaw blade, 5160, nickel, 5160, bandsaw blade and nickel in there. 5160 nickel, 5160, 15N20.
The 10-hour working day was over, and Mr. Weiss was kind enough to show me around the shop. And of course there was a discussion of how hard and tough these blades are, which led to this demonstration.
It's probably too thin for this little job, but we'll try it.
A little bit.
Little dent.
A little.
That's where it went all the way through.
It's not even a dent. It's like almost a little bit.
That's where it went through and hit the steel.
And that was a 3/16 brass rod.
Most time you won't even see it.
Then he grabbed another blade. Same result. That'll sharpen out.
That's a shiny spot. That's the brass on it.
That's not. Like a little sharpening will take care of it. Needless to say, I was eager to get home from my trip and put this blade on my Rockwell tester. And this will be the first time I am testing a weld-forged Damascus ever. So I have no idea what to expect. And to be perfectly honest with you, I didn't even realize that one can test Damascus blades using a Rockwell tester until I saw a video by Dr. Larry Thomas. 57 HRC on the first poke. Let's do a couple more. Mr. Weiss and I had a chance to talk about imported Damascus that pollutes every gun and blade show that you can possibly visit, emanating from Pakistan. Then by for that comparison, 56.5 on the second poke. Anyway, I ended up buying a couple of those foreign-made blades back before I started, the channel, before I learned what I know now about blade steels and Damascus in particular. And we have 58 spot on the third poke. Let's see that Pakistani blade, I guess. I messed with this blade in the early days and I was able to get it sharp enough to cut paper, but it never held the edge for more than 10 cuts, maybe. And that's the reason. 25.5 Rockwell C. Let's do it one more time just in case I hit the soft spot or something like that. Anyway, when you see these tables, booths at the next gun or knife show, stay clear. Yeah, 26 Rockwell. Not good. In case you wonder how my calibration is, let's throw a calibration block. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're not a subscriber while I'm getting this calibration block. This is NIST certified to be at 62 plus minus 0.2 Rockwell block that I use in all my videos. I appreciate you watching and listening to my points, 62.2 right there. So thanks for watching and I'm out.